Hello and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we welcome back on United Lynn Pride. Thanks for coming back on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So would you mind just giving a quick overview? We're here to talk about what's been happening lately with LGBTQ plus rights, both locally and a bit nationally. So would you be able to give a little overview of what we're going to discuss today?
Yeah, so for those unaware, I'm sure a lot of people are aware already, but the current political climate is very unfriendly to the LGBTQ plus community. There's been a lot of rhetoric restricting not just explicitly like, trans, gay, lesbian, etc., everybody under the alphabet umbrella, but even just, more restrictive to just traditional gender norms as to, what women are supposed to do, what men are supposed to do. So I'm here today to just very briefly talk about that, as well as speak about some of the resources that are around and reaffirm United Lynn Pride's commitment to supporting our community.
And one thing you did come with was there was a statement that both this group and several others signed, a statement of support for the community as a whole. Did you want to, what were some highlights from that?
Yeah, so the statement, I have it printed out here, and our social media post is not up yet, but by the time this comes out, it'll probably be up on our social media. But we have a statement here that is from the Rainbow Coalition. The Rainbow Coalition is an informal collection of different LGBTQ plus groups across the North Shore. So United Lynn Pride, North Shore Pride, Tri-Town Pride, I believe Beverly Human Rights Commission is a group, a number of different folks. And we meet on a monthly basis to just discuss both what our local events are happening, but more recently with this change in how things are going, we've been focusing a lot more about making sure our community knows that we support them, we're there for them, and we're going to help in any way we can. So from this statement, this is explicitly to the trans community. We just want to make it known to them that we support them and we'll help them locate whatever they need, just because there are so many anti-trans bills coming out across the country. And yeah, just reaffirm our commitment to them.
And one thing I thought was great that you included in there was you can create your own family. It doesn't have to be people that you're necessarily blood related to. Your family can be whoever makes you feel comfortable, whoever accepts you for who you are.
Yeah, there's a lot of language in here that's about creating your chosen family, about our love and support, about finding your community, finding your preferred spaces. And I'm really hoping, and it's going to happen, we're going to continue to work to make it happen, that beyond just this, because, something in a lot of different social action spaces I think about is both symbolic action and then also tangible actions.
Okay.
So this, I think, while will have an impact and is very powerful, I also want to be able to give people more direct support, whether through food or whether through finding their medical treatment through a ride or something. So I'm hoping to continue to build off of this.
This is the first step, and you want to keep building up and up.
Going. I mean, United Lynn Pride now, we were third or fourth year, just upward and onward.
And one thing you were even talking about too was the various resources. You do have a booklet there, community resource book. So what were some of the resources that LGBTQ people, plus people, transgender people specifically, would be able to find?
Yeah, so I have, just to address the thing you pointed out, so I do have this booklet here. This is not from United Lynn Pride, but I'm also affiliated with this group. So this is from Lynn Community Connections Coalition. And it's just a resource book of pretty much almost, I think, if not everything, most of the different human services that are around in the city of Lynn and also the surrounding area. I also did send, and it can probably be put up in edit, a link to the United Lynn Pride's resource page that's also fairly comprehensive. It includes a lot of the stuff in here and plus more, specifically to the LGBTQ plus community. You can go to Lynn Community Health if you're looking directly within the city of Lynn, and they have a team internally at Lynn Community Health that focuses specifically on LGBTQ plus health. Okay. There are also some affinity groups within Center Board, and at Raw Artworks there's an affinity group. There's also for anyone who is K through 12, looking into their local GSAs at whichever LPS school you might go to. The broader region, there's a lot of resources on the North Shore in Salem and Greater Boston, both human service related and affinity groups. So there's a lot of different services that provide things at the intersection if you're dealing with domestic violence and you're LGBTQ+. There's the Network La Red, which is also English and bilingual servicing organization. There's Bagley, there's NAGLY, which are youth servicing, even if you're not, it's so funny because talking about the AGLYs, so people might, this is kind of a tangential thing, but there's NAGLY, which is North Shore Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth, which they do have a satellite office actually here in Lynn too, which is beneficial. But then there's Bagley, which is the Boston Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth, but there's a whole AGLY network across Massachusetts. So there's a bunch of different funny acronyms of them. So there's WAGLY, which I think is like Worcester. There's SASHAGLY, which is South Shore Alliance of Gay. So that's a service across Massachusetts. There's Project Out, which is a group out of Salem that provides binders as well as other assistance for anybody who is trans, looking for transitional assistance services. And a number of other things, but I won't go down the whole entire long list. If you go to United Lynn Pride's resource page, as well as maybe looking in here, you'll find it all categorized, as well as available in English and in Spanish.
And you're listing all these resources, which they're great, they're so beneficial, but also why do you think it is so important for people to have these safe spaces, to have these resources?
I think it's important generally, but now more so than ever, because as a community, as well as many other marginalized groups, we're actively being targeted. The current leadership in this country has made it easier for those who maybe had that disdain within them, but didn't verbalize it earlier, made them feel more comfortable expressing that disdain for people. So I think it's critical that people find community and also sort of build their resiliency, take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health, continue to spread kindness. Empathy is not a weakness. Have empathy. And those are the main reasons. And I'll also just say on that point that I'm thankful that, to be here in Massachusetts, which is so progressive, not to say that we're perfect, because we certainly are not, but to say that, I don't see a lot of that in my own community.
Yeah, to feel that you do have the support. I mean, I'm gay myself, so this is a more personal issue for me as well. And I will ask if anyone's watching and wants to get more involved, whether if it is United Lynn Pride or any of these other organizations, what would you say would be the best way to go about that?
For United Lynn Pride, definitely, send an email to the info email. There's also a form on there for volunteering. Probably the email is better because I think the volunteer form sometimes will go unchecked. We're an all volunteer group, so our attendance to things is here or there. Right. There's also the number. The number is accessible via a call or a text. You can always reach out there. If you want to get involved, or even if you're looking for a resource, but you want to directly speak with somebody, you can send an email, give a call. I have had a few instances like that here in the city where I have been supported people. And just on that point, I'll say, on the local level in Lynn, I often find that the LGBTQ+ issues are not always 100% linked to one's identity as being LGBTQ+. A lot of them are very intersectional because the city of Lynn is very diverse. So, I think it's, I've had people who are LGBTQ+ reach out looking for immigration support, which is made more complex because of those dual identities. Right. People looking for affinity spaces that are more POC friendly and not just LGBTQ+, but both. People who are looking for homeless assistance in procuring somewhere to stay for the night, but the issue is just made harder because of their LGBTQ+ identity. Right. So I find a lot of things like that. But back to your main point about getting involved, email, send a call or a text. For other groups outside of United Lynn Pride, check out the resource page, and I'm sure that those folks all have similar contact pages. There's a lot of great local organizations. And even if you're not looking, I think you should find community, even if it's not 100% LGBTQ+, because I think that even if I think off the top of my head about people involved in all the different groups in the city of Lynn, I can think of LGBTQ+ folks who are advocating for, tenant rights, people who are looking to revitalize downtown, people who are municipal leaders, people who are doing social work and human service work, and they're not explicitly in a gay, lesbian, trans organization, but they're still doing the good work wherever that field might be.
Mm-hmm. So many of the issues or so many things that pop up are so interconnected to one another. I mean, it's rare to find one without connecting it to maybe 5 other things. Like you can connect housing, immigration, social services. They're all interconnected in some way or another.
Right, yeah.
And I'm trying to I think I covered all of my points. I do have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else that you wanted to mention that I hadn't touched upon?
An additional resource, not explicitly in this book and not explicitly here, but if you do find yourself in a situation where you think you might be facing hate-based discrimination, I'm also a member of our local Human Rights Commission. You can visit the municipal page for the Human Rights Commission, and there's a form there where you can report an instance where you feel you might have been discriminated on the basis of, race, age, sex, etc. So if that is of relevance to anybody, that's an additional resource. Yeah, I think that's everything off the top of my head.
Great. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on to speak about these resources that are just so vital to the LGBTQ+ community and just everyone who's being affected by this.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests.